Welcome to a new episode of Sleep Journey Through Lost Worlds, your podcast for relaxing, letting go, and learning. Are you familiar with our other Sleep Journey series, such as Sleep Journey Through the Universe? Tonight, we journey together to the edge of the Sahara Desert, to the Giza Plateau, where three magnificent pyramids rise from the golden sands, monuments that have stood for over 4.5 millennia. Close your eyes, breathe deeply, and let yourself drift back to ancient Egypt, to a civilization that mastered stone, understood the stars, and created structures so enduring they were already ancient when the Roman Empire flourished. Picture yourself standing on the Giza Plateau at dawn, when the desert air is still cool and the sky transitions from deep indigo to pale gold. Before you rise the three Great Pyramids, their massive limestone faces catching the first rays of sunlight. The largest, the Great Pyramid of Khufu, dominates the landscape, its apex pointing toward the heavens like a stone finger connecting earth and sky. To the south stand the slightly smaller pyramids of Khafra and Menkaure, each a masterpiece of ancient engineering. Let your breathing slow and deepen as we explore the incredible age of these monuments. The Great Pyramid was completed around 2560 BCE during the fourth dynasty of Egypt's Old Kingdom. This means the pyramid was already over 2,500 years old when Cleopatra lived, and it had stood for 3,000 years before Columbus sailed to the Americas. The pyramid is older than written history in most of the world, older than the wheel in many regions, a monument from humanity's deep past. The Great Pyramid originally stood 146.6 meters tall, making it the tallest human-made structure in the world for over 3,800 years, until the completion of Lincoln Cathedral in England in 1311. Today, erosion and the loss of its outer casing have reduced its height to approximately 138 meters, but it remains an awe-inspiring testament to ancient engineering prowess. Feel yourself relaxing more deeply as we consider the sheer scale of this construction. The Great Pyramid contains approximately 2.3 million limestone blocks, each weighing between 2 and 15 tons, though some granite blocks in the internal chambers weigh as much as 80 tons. The total weight of the pyramid is estimated at approximately 6 million tons. The base covers 13 acres, and each side measures approximately 230 meters in length, aligned almost perfectly with the cardinal directions. The precision of this alignment is remarkable. The base is level to within just 2.1 centimeters across its entire expanse, an accuracy that would challenge modern construction techniques. The sides are oriented to true north with an error of only 3/60ths of a single degree. How did ancient Egyptian engineers achieve such precision without magnetic compasses or modern surveying equipment? They likely used astronomical observations, tracking the movement of stars to determine true north, combined with sophisticated geometric knowledge. Allow your mind to drift peacefully as we explore the construction methods used to build these colossal structures. For centuries, people have wondered how ancient Egyptians moved and lifted such massive stones. Modern archaeology has revealed many answers, though some mysteries remain. The limestone blocks forming the pyramid's core came from quarries on the Giza Plateau itself, while finer white limestone for the outer casing came from quarries at Turao across the Nile River. The granite used in internal chambers was transported from Aswan, over 800 kilometers to the south. Quarrying techniques involve copper tools and wooden wedges. Workers cut channels around blocks, then inserted wooden wedges into cracks and soaked them with water. As the wood expanded, it split the stone along natural fissures. Once freed from the bedrock, blocks were moved on wooden sledges. Recent experimental archaeology has shown that wetting the sand in front of sledges reduces friction dramatically, allowing teams of workers to move heavy loads more easily. Ancient Egyptian paintings actually show workers pouring water in front of sledges, a detail whose significance was only understood recently. Transporting blocks from distant quarries required the Nile River. During the annual flood season, when the river rose and spread across the floodplain, boats could approach close to the Giza Plateau. Workers loaded limestone and granite blocks onto wooden barges and floated them downstream or upstream, depending on the quarry location. This explains why pyramid construction likely occurred primarily during the flood season, when agricultural work was impossible and a large labor force was available and could be fed from stored grain. Breathe slowly and deeply as we consider how blocks were lifted into position. The traditional theory involves ramps, but the exact configuration remains debated. A single straight ramp rising to the pyramid's apex would need to be over 1.5 kilometers long to maintain a reasonable slope, requiring more material than the pyramid itself. More likely, the Egyptians used a combination of ramps, perhaps a main ramp spiraling around the pyramid's exterior, interior ramps within the structure, or a combination of different systems adapted as construction progressed. Recent discoveries support the use of a complex ramp system. In 2017, archaeologists discovered a ramp system at an alabaster quarry at Hatnub that employed a steep ramp with posts on either side. Ropes wrapped around these posts created a pulley-like system, allowing workers to haul heavy loads up steep inclines with less force than dragging alone would require. This ingenious system may have been adapted for pyramid construction, though direct evidence remains elusive since any external ramps would have been dismantled after the pyramid's completion. Let yourself relax even more deeply as we explore the interior of the Great Pyramid. The entrance, located on the north face approximately 17 meters above ground level, leads to a descending passage that slopes downward at an angle of 26 degrees. This passage extends over 100 meters, first through the pyramid's masonry, then through the bedrock beneath, ending in an unfinished subterranean chamber cut into the living rock beneath the pyramid's base. From the descending passage, an ascending passage rises at the same 26-degree angle, leading to two remarkable spaces within the pyramid. The first is the Queen's Chamber, a misnomer since it likely had nothing to do with a queen. This chamber sits at the pyramid's horizontal centerline and features a corbelled niche in its eastern wall whose purpose remains mysterious. The chamber was left unfinished, with rough-cut floors and walls suggesting either a change in plans or intentional incompleteness for ritual reasons. The ascending passage continues to the Grand Gallery, one of ancient architecture's most impressive spaces. This corridor rises at the same 26-degree angle, but expands to a height of over 8 meters through a corbelled vault, with each course of limestone projecting slightly inward until they nearly meet at the top. The Grand Gallery measures approximately 47 meters in length, and its walls are so precisely fitted that you cannot insert a knife blade between the blocks. Walking through this space even today inspires awe at the ambition and skill of its creators. Feel your breathing becoming slower and more rhythmic as we ascend to the King's Chamber, the heart of the Great Pyramid. This chamber, constructed entirely of red granite from Aswan, measures approximately 10.5 meters by 5.2 meters and 5.8 meters high. The chamber contains a granite sarcophagus, too large to have been brought through the passages, which means it must have been placed during construction before the chamber was roofed. The sarcophagus is empty and has been since at least the 9th century CE when the first detailed descriptions were recorded. Above the king's chamber lie 5 relieving chambers, spaces designed to distribute the enormous weight of the pyramid above, away from the burial chamber ceiling. These chambers demonstrate sophisticated understanding of structural engineering. The uppermost chamber has a pointed roof, directing weight outward to the pyramid's mass rather than downward onto the burial chamber. Without these relieving chambers, the king's chamber ceiling would likely have collapsed under the weight of thousands of tons of stone. The pyramid also contains 2 narrow shafts extending from both the king's and queen's chambers toward the pyramid's exterior faces. These shafts, only about 20 centimeters square, run for over 60 meters through the pyramid's masonry. Their purpose has long puzzled researchers. They're too small for people to use and too precisely constructed to be simple air vents. Recent astronomical analysis suggests they may have been aligned with specific stars significant in ancient Egyptian religion. The northern shaft from the king's chamber pointed toward the circumpolar stars, the eternal, undying stars that never set, while the southern shaft aligned with Orion's belt, associated with Osiris, god of the afterlife. Allow yourself to drift into deeper relaxation as we explore the pyramid complex surrounding the Great Pyramid. Ancient Egyptian pyramids were not isolated monuments, but centers of elaborate temple complexes. A causeway, a covered corridor approximately 800 meters long, connected the pyramid to a valley temple at the edge of the Nile floodplain. Priests and mourners would process along this causeway during funeral ceremonies, moving from the realm of the living to the realm of the dead. Three smaller pyramids stand to the east of the Great Pyramid, traditionally called the Queen's Pyramids, though their exact purpose remains uncertain. They may have been built for Khufu's queens, mothers, or daughters, or they may have served ritual purposes related to the king's cult. Nearby, a vast cemetery of mastaba tombs, rectangular structures with sloping sides, house the burials of nobles, officials, and priests. These tombs were arranged in orderly rows, creating a city of the dead mirroring the hierarchy of the living. The second pyramid on the plateau, built by Khufu's son Khafre around 2520 BCE, appears nearly as large as the Great Pyramid, though it is actually slightly smaller. This illusion occurs because Khafre's pyramid stands on higher ground and retains some of its original smooth limestone casing at its apex, giving us a glimpse of how all three pyramids once appeared. When new, the pyramids were covered in polished white limestone that reflected sunlight, making them visible from great distances and causing them to gleam like artificial mountains of light. Breathe deeply and peacefully as we consider the Sphinx, that enigmatic monument that guards the Giza plateau. Carved from a single outcrop of limestone, the Sphinx has the body of a reclining lion and the head of a king, probably representing Khafre. The statue measures approximately 73 meters long and 20 meters high, making it the largest monolith statue in the ancient world. The Sphinx faces due east, toward the rising sun, and sits within an enclosure whose walls show distinctive erosion patterns that have sparked much debate. The Great Sphinx has weathered thousands of years of wind, sand, and human activity. Ancient Egyptians themselves restored it multiple times, including a famous restoration by Thutmose IV around 1400 BCE, over 1,000 years after its creation. Between the Sphinx's paws stands a granite stela recording how the young prince Thutmose fell asleep in the Sphinx's shadow and dreamed that the sun god Ra promised him the throne of Egypt if he would clear away the sand engulfing the monument. Thutmose completed the clearing and indeed became pharaoh, demonstrating that even in ancient times, the Sphinx was so old it required archaeological conservation. Let your mind drift as we explore the third pyramid, built by Menkaure around 2510 BCE. Though smallest of the three main pyramids, standing originally 65 meters tall, Menkaure's pyramid is no less impressive in its precision and beauty. Its lower courses were originally cased in red granite, creating a striking visual contrast with the white limestone above. The use of granite, much harder to work than limestone, demonstrates the resources and determination invested in pyramid construction, even when building on a smaller scale. The pyramid complexes served as the focal points for elaborate funerary cults that continued for centuries after the king's deaths. Priests performed daily rituals in the mortuary temples, offering food, drink, and incense to sustain the deceased king's spirit in the afterlife. These cults required extensive economic support, agricultural estates, workshops producing offering goods, and permanent staffs of priests, administrators, and workers. The pyramid was not simply a tomb, but the center of an enduring institution connecting the living and the dead. Now let us pause for a moment of meditation and deep relaxation. Close your eyes if they are not already closed. Focus on your breath, feeling the air enter your nostrils, cool and fresh, filling your lungs, then flowing out again, warm and soft. Breathe in slowly for a count of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold gently for 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Release slowly for 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 again. In for 4, hold for 4, out for 6. Imagine yourself lying on warm sand near the pyramids as stars emerge in the darkening sky. The pyramids rise above you, their perfect geometric forms silhouetted against the deepening blue. You feel the ancient stone's permanence, their patient endurance through millennia. These monuments have witnessed countless sunrises and sunsets, countless generations of humanity. They remind you that you are part of something vast and continuing, a chain of human experience extending backward and forward through time. Feel yourself connected to the earth beneath you, to the stone of the pyramids quarried from this very plateau. Feel connected to every person who labored to build these monuments, every priest who performed rituals here, every traveler who gazed upon them in wonder. You are part of that unbroken chain. Breathe in ancient wisdom and timeless peace. Breathe out worry and haste. Simply be present, here, now, suspended between earth and stars, connected to all times and all places. As we prepare to conclude our journey, consider what modern science has revealed about ancient Egyptian society through the pyramids. For many years, people believed pyramids were built by slaves laboring under harsh conditions. Archaeological evidence tells a different story. Excavations of workers' villages near the pyramids reveal that laborers were well-fed, receiving meat and bread regularly, and they received medical care when injured. Skeletal remains show evidence of healed fractures, indicating that injured workers were cared for rather than discarded. These were not slaves, but specialized workers, seasonal laborers, and conscripted citizens fulfilling their obligation to the state during the flood season when agricultural work was impossible. Graffiti left by work gangs reveals their pride in their labor, with teams calling themselves names like Friends of Khufu or Drunkards of Menkaure. Building a pyramid was seen as a sacred duty, an honor that contributed to Egypt's cosmic order and ensured the king's successful transition to the afterlife, which in turn guaranteed Egypt's continued prosperity. The pyramids embodied ancient Egyptian religious beliefs about death, rebirth, and the cosmos. The pyramid's shape itself may have represented the primordial mound that emerged from the waters of chaos at creation, or the rays of the sun descending to earth, providing a stairway for the king's spirit to ascend to the heavens. The orientation toward true north connected the pyramid to the circumpolar stars, the imperishable ones that never set, where the king's spirit would dwell eternally. Recent technological advances continue to reveal new secrets about the pyramids. In 2017, cosmic ray muon radiography detected a large void above the Grand Gallery in the Great Pyramid, a previously unknown space whose purpose remains mysterious. Ground-penetrating radar has revealed anomalies suggesting additional chambers or passages may await discovery. Each generation brings new tools and perspectives to these ancient monuments, continually deepening our understanding while generating new questions. The pyramids remind us of what humans can achieve when we work together toward common goals that transcend individual lifetimes. The ancient Egyptians devoted tremendous resources and labor to these projects over decades, maintaining continuity of purpose across generations. They created monuments designed to last forever, and their success is evident. The pyramids have endured for over 4,500 years, outlasting the civilization that built them, outlasting hundreds of subsequent civilizations, becoming eternal symbols of human ambition and capability. Yet these monuments also remind us how fragile even the most enduring human achievements can be. The pyramids have survived primarily because Egypt's dry climate preserves stone and because later peoples recognized their value. The smooth limestone casing that once covered them was stripped away centuries ago, reused for building projects in Cairo. The treasures they once contained were looted in antiquity. The surrounding landscape has changed dramatically, from agricultural land to urban sprawl, as Cairo has expanded to the pyramid's very edge. Today, the pyramids face new threats. Air pollution from Cairo damages the limestone. Groundwater rising due to irrigation and sewage is destabilizing foundations. Climate change threatens to alter the stable desert environment that has preserved them. Tourism, while economically vital, causes wear and tear. Preserving these irreplaceable monuments for future generations requires ongoing conservation efforts and global commitment to protecting our shared human heritage. The pyramids stand on our planet Earth, the only world we know that harbors life, the only home humanity has ever known. Every monument humans have ever built, every civilization we have created, every achievement we celebrate rests on this fragile planet. The limestone of the pyramids formed from ancient sea creatures millions of years ago when shallow seas covered Egypt. The granite came from deep in the Earth's crust, slowly cooled magma brought to the surface by geological processes operating over eons. Sleep peacefully now, cradled by the earth and sheltered by the sky. Dream of golden pyramids rising from desert sands. of ancient stones precisely placed, of human hands creating monuments to transcend time. Tomorrow when you wake, you will carry renewed appreciation for what humans can achieve together, for the precious planet that sustains us all, for your own place in the continuing story of humanity. Rest well, dear traveler. May your sleep be deep and your dreams transport you across time and space to ancient wonders. Good night.